Hello friends, welcome to the channel, and in today's biochemistry video we will see fatty acids oxidation, which is an important pathway when we study various metabolic pathway in biochemistry. So this fatty acid oxidation, what happens in this pathway? We are going to just have an overview, not the detailed pathway. So what happens in this fatty acid oxidation? The fatty acids get oxidized, they get degraded so that energy can be produced. As fatty acids are an important source of energy, they are very energy rich components, they are very energy rich biomolecules. So that's why it is an important pathway. Secondly, this fatty acid oxidation can be also called as beta oxidation. And why we call it as beta oxidation? Because as this is the structure for a fatty acids where R represents a number of carbon atoms. So what happens in this oxidation process, this is the alpha carbon, the one to which the functional moieties are attached, and next to that is the beta carbon that we all know. So this oxidation takes place on the beta carbon. That's why this oxidation is also termed as beta oxidation. And during this oxidation process, there is oxidation at the beta carbon, and in every step of the oxidation, two carbons are released in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. So this is the basic this is the definition of this fatty acid oxidation, that the oxidation will take place on the beta carbon, and in each step two carbons will be released, and those will be released in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. So now let's see how this process takes place. So first of all, we should know that this oxidation enzymes, they are present in cytosol as well as they are present in mitochondria. I have tried to divide these two spaces with the line. So some enzymes are present in cytosol and some are present in mitochondria. And this fatty acid oxidation takes place in three steps. The first step is activation, which takes place in cytosol. So what happens in this step where there is activation of the fatty acid? So how that takes place? So the fatty acid gets converted into acyl coenzyme A in cytosol in the presence of enzyme thiokinase, and during this process it also consumes one molecule ATP. And this acyl coenzyme A, this is the activated form which is helpful to get oxidized. Now how that takes place? So to undergo oxidation, the remaining enzymes which are going to cause the actual oxidation, those are present inside the mitochondria. So we have to carry this acyl coenzyme A into mitochondria, but this membrane is not permeable. It doesn't allow acyl coenzyme A to enter into mitochondria and to get oxidized. So what it will do now? So it is having a transport system, and that is the second step, that we have to transfer this acyl coenzyme A through the mitochondrial membrane, and for that purpose we are going to use a shuttle that is called as Carnitine Shuttle. This Carnitine Shuttle uses some transferase enzyme because it is doing the transferring, so that's why there are some transferase enzyme, and this carnitine protein, it forms complex with this acyl coenzyme A. It carries that complex here inside the mitochondria, and here it releases from this complex acyl coenzyme A is released as a free molecule, and the carnitine, it is free now. It goes back into cytosol to carry the next molecule of acyl coenzyme into mitochondria. So in this way, this carnitine shuttle system or carnitine carrier protein, it keeps on circulating. It keeps on working in this way in the transfer process. Now we have to see in the next step what happens to this acyl coenzyme A, which is the activated form of fatty acid, and it has reached in mitochondria. So in mitochondria, now the enzymes which are required for proper oxidation. Now why we call this third step as proper oxidation, beta oxidation proper? Because now the oxidation is going to take place. So that's why this third step, which takes place inside mitochondria, that is termed as beta oxidation proper. Now in this step, this acyl coenzyme undergoes oxidation, hydration, oxidation and cleavage. So these four steps takes place one by one: oxidation, hydration, oxidation and cleavage. In this process, some dehydrogenase enzyme like for oxidation dehydrogenase is required, for hydration hydratase enzyme is required, then again some dehydrogenase is required, and for cleavage thiolase enzyme is required. So these all enzymes are present inside the mitochondria. So here these four steps goes on, and through this process, then from this total fatty acid molecule, 2 carbons are separated. Like as I told you, there are various carbon molecules present in the fatty acid chain based on the type of fatty acid we are having. So among that, 2 carbons are released, and these 2 carbons are released in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. These are released in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. This acetyl coenzyme A, now what it will do? It will go into, as we have seen already, or you can refer to the previous video on Krebs cycle. So their acetyl coenzyme A is the substrate which helps in the starter. It acts as a starter material for the Krebs cycle. So here this acetyl coenzyme A will go in the Krebs cycle, or we also call this a TCA cycle, and here this acetyl coenzyme A will be metabolized and it will give us 12 ATPs. So in this way, a large sum of energy is produced from one molecule of acetyl coenzyme. And for example, if we consider palmitic acid, which is having 16 carbons, so what will happen? It will undergo this beta oxidation proper. How many times? 7 times. It will undergo 7 times, and it will produce, in each step it will release one molecule of acetyl coenzyme A. So in this way it is going to produce 7 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A. While in the last step, where the 14th are released and the 2 carbon fragment will be left behind, so that is again in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. So that's why there are total 8 acetyl coenzyme A from palmitic acid, and these 8 acetyl coenzyme A will go into TCA cycle, and there they will produce 96 ATPs. So from palmitic acid, which goes into TCA cycle, that gives us 96 ATPs. While during this oxidation, hydration, oxidation and cleavage process, it also releases one molecule of FADH2 and one NADH. So in each oxidation step, for example, if it is going for 7 times, so 7 FADH2 and 7 NADH will be produced, and they are going to give us appropriate number of ATPs. So in this way, this fatty acid oxidation is that's why fatty acids are called as energy rich compounds, because they gives us a lump sum of ATPs. So this is an overview of fatty acid oxidation. We will see the steps on the enzymes, all those changes one by one in the next video. Thanks for watching.